Across the decade, I have had the privilege to serve this great organization, United Nations.
For South Korean statesman and diplomat Ban Ki-moon, his decade as UN chief has been marked by both hits and misses.
He's by no means been a dreadful Secretary General, but more often than not, he's been just a bit average.
I think he is probably very average, but in very unaverage times.
In today's globalized world,
Ban's first years here were marked by the global financial crisis, soon followed by the Haiti earthquake, the Arab Spring, Ebola in West Africa, conflicts in Yemen, Syria, Libya, South Sudan, the Ukraine crisis, and the rise of modern terrorism. But experts say Ban's legacy will be blemished most by the UN's failure to resolve the Syrian crisis, despite his best efforts.
I think historians will conclude that Ban Ki-moon genuinely tried his best, but he was up against real Russian opposition over intervening in Syria. And frankly, he probably doesn't have the mediation skills himself to have made a huge difference.
Critics also fault Ban for being too slow to acknowledge the UN's role in the Haiti cholera epidemic, and for a rash of UN peacekeeping sex scandals that saw UN whistleblowers suspended, then exonerated, and the head of mission in the Central African Republic fired in a move also criticized as too little too late.
I think that was kind of unfortunately indicative of the tenure of Ban in the Secretariat, that people didn't dare to speak up. And there was a culture of secrecy and kowtowing that hasn't really been changed under Ban. And I think this is probably one of his biggest mistakes.
Still, experts agree that Ban can be credited for charting new ground for the rights of women and the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender or LGBT communities, and especially for pushing through a landmark global climate change pact and finalizing the 15-year Sustainable Development Agenda. But with the Climate Pact not yet in effect, and the Sustainable Development Goals only in its first year, observers say the true measure of Ban Ki-moon's success on these fronts could take years to become apparent. Li Lingtan, CCTV, New York.